right, Sean Patel, FightHype.com. Pleasure to be joined by undefeated super lightweight Julian Rodriguez taking on former two-time world champion Jose Pedraza Saturday night in the co-main event in Las Vegas. The Shakur Stevenson, Jeremia Nakathila. Man, first off, Julian, last fight, man, you knocked the guy down fighting right-handed, knocked him down fighting southpaw, knocked him down with a jab. What do you think you show us Saturday night against Pedraza?
Whatever Pedraza allows me to do to him, I'm gonna do. Whether that's pop him with a jab the whole night, whether it's whatever he shows, I'm gonna capitalize off of. So whatever I need to do, I have the skills to switch. I have the skills to have a nice jab. I have the skills to throw volume punches. I have the skills to throw one shots. I just don't feel like he has anything that can handle any of my game plans.
You know, I saw on Twitter just before talking with you about, you know, it's hard for you to look at your two children and not be determined to break this guy's ribs. You know, with that being said, do you feel like you're the hungrier fighter Saturday night, and that's the key in your favor?
That's what I feel. I don't really focus on him. I just know what I feel. I know the pain that I've endured during my career, and just I felt like I had a lot of cards stacked against me. I feel like I received the short end of the stick in multiple ways, and I'm tired of living in a way where I feel like I'm not getting compensated for all the hard work I put in. So if that doesn't motivate a fighter to get out the fucking sport, dude,
you know, talking about those things, and you know, you're coming up as an up-and-coming fighter the blue-collar way. You know, there's no awards being thrown your way, and there's no huge social media hype. You know, what's that like for you, having to get to this point the blue-collar way?
You know, it's all political, man. You know, and that I'm tired of speaking on it in that way, but you know, it all has to do with politics, dude. You know, and once we realized that, I kept my mouth shut and I kept it moving. At the end of the day, I never thought this business would be this way. You know, even as a professional years in, there's still things about the sport that go, whoa, this business is like this. And you know what I mean? Eventually, you know, I was at a point where I had no problem, and I already set myself up outside the ring. I'm good in my life. I do this, I ride the wave until, you know what I mean, I feel like I have the leverage, and I feel like this Saturday I'll have the leverage after that.
Like you said, politics, there's a lot of stuff that goes into the boxing outside of the ring, but in the ring though, why do you think you're as good as anybody at 140? You can become champion. What do you bring to the table, Julian, that you feel can get you to the top in the ring?
In the ring, I have all the skills. I'm an exciting fighter. First and foremost, I know how to sell tickets. I put on a show as a 6-rounder, I was selling $50,000 to $60,000 of tickets in the Garden, and without being promoted, my name wasn't on a flyer. Come on, you know, and that's my hometown venue. You know, these things like that. You know, it's a shame, but you know, that personal issues get in between business for some people. But you know, like I said, I was frustrated for a long time with that. I'm older now, I'm more mature, and I feel like that time will soon come to an end where I feel like I get the short end of the stick.
You know, you had that shoulder injury that kept you out almost 2 years. And I heard you talk about that made you box. That made you box more, you know, than going. Do you feel like you're a better, I mean, 4 of your last 5 wins have been by knockout. Do you feel like you're a bigger puncher than the record shows?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There were fights I just had to focus on getting through the fight, because I knew, like, all right, I'm not going to look ugly trying to knock this guy out when I know I'm not as healthy, or let me get some rounds in, you know, because considering the first fucking 12 of my fights or whatever it was, like, were early fights and they got done early, you know. So there was just a time where I'm like, let me focus this fight on my footwork and maybe just my jab and just my head movement and just showing a different side of me. You know, especially when my company asked me for rounds at some point. So it's, you know, which I felt like was beneficial to me. So it's not a knock on them. But, you know, in those times, I just learned more about myself as a fighter and as a person, getting through all those adversities and all that stuff. So,
do you mean at the time they were saying you're knocking these guys out kind of quick? Can you give us some rounds? Is that what they were telling you?
Yeah,
wow.
they
I
would
didn't know
come
stuff
into
like that even happens.
Yeah, me too. Again, we learn new things in this fucking sport every fight. So they would come into my dressing room the time before, like, you think we can get some rounds in, you know, and they, you know what I mean, whatever. So it's we would laugh at it and we would go, yeah, no problem. And then first round knockout, you know. And there was even a time where I would try to listen and I would knock them out by accident, you know, or, you know, there was a time where I fought at the Garden and I was going to get some rounds in, and the guy, since the first round, came to try to take my head off. So just getting out the way and shooting a little body shot, it ended the night. So even my own corner was mad at me. They were like, yo, man, what? You got to take your time a little bit. I'm like, you know, it's either me or him. What do you expect? You know, so, you know, and it's not a big, I'm just talking shit, man. You know, it's not, I don't think it personal, but it's just, this is what happens. But, you know, in those times where I had that shoulder pain or whatever, there was actually, when I was boxing and using my footwork and my jabs, I didn't know, but I was almost about to tear my shoulder again. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, so to speak, my shoulder was holding on by a thread, literally. So, like, once I got MRIs and stuff, I'm like, oh shit, like, I could potentially hurt my shoulder again in a serious way. Let me take my time off. So, you know, that was surprising to me but also it did dent my confidence in myself at the time, because in my mind I thought, holy shit, maybe this is how my shoulder is now for the rest of my life. You know, so I was sitting there just using other aspects of my game. I started to learn how to fight southpaw a little bit. Even recently now, I'm starting to show it in my fights more. But there's nothing that's going to shy me away. I think my skill set is too advanced to just rely on one punch, you know, because there's just so many aspects of my game that I feel like I can, you know, put in place of that. So I'm always growing too. So I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine in the short term it sucks. It's like a pitcher losing his fastball. Now he can't throw 100. Yeah. But in the long term, do you think it made you a better fighter? Because it made you
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I studied different aspects of the game, and you know, I studied different game plans that required not to use certain angles of that arm, and I did all the homework I could, you know, and definitely made me out to be a better fighter. There's some fights, especially the ones recently, where I felt like I didn't have to use my full potential. You know, I didn't have to get out of first gear. I would use 30%, 40% of my skills, because that was just enough. With, you know, it is what it is. You know, a lot of these guys are flat foot. They come forward and look, it's the pro game. So when you put me in with Mexicans, I'm going to use my feet a little bit. I'm going to use my jabs, and my speed will carry me. And that's what was happening in the last few fights.
Yeah, and after that last fight against Rodriguez from Mexico, you looked in the camera and basically said, you know, I'm coming for them all, knocking them all out. You know, obviously Pedraza is a huge test Saturday night, but, you know, what do you think even down the line of Josh Taylor? Because if you come in for everybody in the division, that's the man to come for him from. Do you ever have thoughts on fighting him, especially after that last fight he had a couple weeks back? Or
yeah, I like Josh Taylor, man. I like him. I like his charisma and all that too. I feel like he brings the fucking heat, dude, and that's a fight I would love. You know, he might be moving up to 147, but in due time, so will I. So, you know, whoever is going to bring the best out of me, that's who I would like to fight. You know, I haven't been getting the fights I've been wanting. So, you know, I feel like this is the time for that. You know, this is the first fight that's coming my way. I feel like I'm forcing that now. You know, the last two were supposed to be step ups too, you know, so we'll see.
Yeah. And I know you've mentioned guys like Jose Vargas and Arnold Barboza, and, you know, Teofimo might be moving up soon. So I imagine those are fights too that you would like as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I would love to fight those guys. I've asked to fight those guys too.
And what do you think of this fight? Are you Puerto Rican American, Julian? Or?
I'm American, but I'm different, tons of different Spanish. I'm Cuban, Colombian, Dominican, and I'm Irish. So
When you're Latino and from New Jersey, you know the first guess is always going to be
of course Puerto Rican. Yeah, you know I'm light skinned and shit. You know, so I get it, but I don't speak a lick of Spanish, so you know I'm American.
That's too bad, man. You're missing out on the easy Puerto Rican Day Parade, Madison Square Garden fight.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Rosetta Stone is one payment away. I have a lot of everyone in my family speaks Spanish anyway. So if I really wanted to learn, I could sit down and over a course of 2-3 months, I'll be I'll speak it fluent enough to get through an interview. I hope.
Well, then before I let you get out of here, Julian, Jersey is definitely in the house Saturday night in Vegas, man. Because not just you, but Shakur Stevenson in the main event. Did you guys ever spar? I know, both being with Jay Prince, and have you guys ever sparred before?
No, we never sparred. There was a time I believe we were gonna, but that was when I was coming back and I was super big from being off from my surgery, and I was just I was still hurt my shoulder. So I don't think that never happened. He was always smaller than me too, but
right.
But we grew up around each other, man. I used to see Shakur as a little peanut kid crying because he would lose in these little one night shows, and growing up, I guess, with him and seeing his success, man, I couldn't be more proud of him, especially from where he came from. I would go to his gym to spar his bigger teammates, and their gym was in the fucking basement of the Newark projects, man. So for a blossom to grow to bloom out of that, you know what I mean? That's crazy, man, to me. And no matter what, man, the kid, he put the work in and he kept grinding. It's easy for someone to who always has success to just ride that train, but he didn't come from success outside the ring or inside the ring, and he really fought his way through that. And when it counted, when it mattered, he showed up, and look where it's gotten him. So most respect to him. It's all fam when I see him. You know what I mean? It's all love, and we're on the same team now. You know what I mean? So I feel like Jersey will represent on Saturday night.
I'm gonna jam it all into this last one so you get the hell out of here, Julian. How far can Shakur go? And do you think he wins Saturday night? And what would you think of him fighting an Oscar Valdez or something? Yeah.
Skill set, nobody touches that kid, man. And he's still growing, he's still young. So, and he's around the right people. When you surround yourself with legends and people that have the same mindset and goals as you, it's very hard to fall off, man. And at the rate that he's going, and with his team, the management, Jay Prince, who's my manager also, I just don't see how that kid loses, aside from, if he, as long as he wants to win, he's going to win. You know what I mean? I feel like he has the skills and the tool set to carry him through any game plan, through any fight.
You think he beats Valdez if and when they ever fight?
Yeah, I do. I think skills pay the bills, man. I think his conditioning is great. His discipline in the ring is good. His ring generalship is good, and he's getting better. You know what I mean? So I feel like Valdez is great too. There's just a little bit more holes in his game, and I feel like, respectfully, Shakur will capitalize on those.
Thanks, Julian, so much, man. I can't wait to see everything you bring to the table Saturday night. It's a great matchup between you and Pedraza, and of course, we got a great fight in the main event. Thanks, brother. Thanks for your time.
Sean, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Hope to speak to you soon.